From the sun-kissed hills of Austria to the home of Piadinas on the Adriatic coast, we're at the spiritual home of the MotoE World Cup. 7 races here in the series' short history, and once again the championship is coming down to the wire at the final round. It's Switzerland versus Brazil, Aegerter versus Granado, race 1 of round 6 coming your way very shortly. Will we see a World Cup winner, overall winner crowned today? So buckle up because fireworks are guaranteed, everybody. Welcome to MotoE. My name is Matt Dunn. Alongside me, as ever, Neil Morrison. I was expecting our location colour country intro with all the dramatic music and things like that, but apparently we're not doing that today. So there's my intro anyways, because I spent a bit of time on it this morning. Fran Wild is down on the grid as well this morning. It's a beautiful afternoon here at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. The threat of rain has dissipated. We hope you can see the blue skies in the background there. I don't know what town we're looking at, but it certainly is pretty. This is a much more exciting feast though. Neil Morrison, warm welcome to the box. MotoE finale, Granado versus Aegerter. What are we thinking?
Yeah, we've been here before, haven't we? These guys came here last year with the chance of winning the title. Neither of them came away with it, unfortunately, but Aegerter is well placed. You have to say his performance in qualifying yesterday was the stuff of champions. No sign of nerves from him as he claimed pole position.
Very, very cool indeed, wasn't it? 0.3 of a second he was ahead of Mattia Casadei. Jordi Torres lines up third on the grid. I think I just saw myself down on the grid there, a guy who's the absolute spitting image of me, but I'll show you I'm here. Here is Casadei, second on the grid, ahead of Jordi Torres. Eric Granado, by the way, will start from P4, which is where actually he's taken victories from earlier in the season, so I don't think that was much of a disaster. Casadei, though, was on course for a potential pole position, but he stacked it at one of their final corners.
Yeah, still managed to qualify second though. Good qualifying performance from him. He's actually been fantastic in qualifying right the way through the year, on the front row every single race bar one round for Casadei, and he'll be lining up alongside his teammate Matt, back on the front row for the first time this year.
Great to see Jordi Torres really on form when it counts. It's contract time here in MotoE as we look ahead to next season, a new era of the series, because of course we have Ducati taken over as the manufacturer from Energica. But I tell you what, somebody who starts from 5th on the grid, Matteo Ferrari, 5 victories here at Misano, so he's had. What's he expecting today? We can pass down to Fran Wild, who's with him on the grid.
Yep, as ever, I always victimise you, Matteo, to talk to me, but thank you once again for doing so. How are you feeling here? You've got no pressure at the Cup, which is a shame in one way, but a great opportunity to give it the full throttle here at home. How are you feeling from 5th?
The feeling is good, a lot of fans on the stand, so excited to start. Great qualifying yesterday. We are in the second row, so perfect line. Now we try to do our best and to achieve our best result.
And are you paying any attention at all to Eric and Domi, or nothing?
I want to win because I am the record man in Misano, so I want to continue in this way. And then the other two we will fight.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Fran. Thanks as well to Matteo Ferrari, the record man of Misano. 5 wins from 7 appearances at this track. He certainly is. The magician of Misano is Matteo Ferrari. He'll be coming through from the middle of the second row in 5th.
Quite fitting to see a Ferrari win in Italy once again. I know I've completely exhausted that analogy there. There was Mikel Pons, though, so Ferrari's not going to be helping out anybody in terms of the championship and the overall standings. Mikel Pons, who is alongside him on the grid, could well play a hand in it, though. He'll be looking to make sure he plays the perfect wingman role for Eric Granado. Aegerter doesn't have a teammate, of course, so he will be flying solo, literally. There is Ferrari, though, who Fran was just speaking to.
Yeah, he won't literally be flying, man. That would be quite rare.
Well, that would mean he DNF, actually, if he flew. So hopefully none of that happens.
Exactly, yeah. There is Matteo Ferrari. And yeah, as we saw last time out in Austria, Mikel Pons was a pretty good backup man for Eric Granado, wasn't he? Finishing second in that race, putting a bike between himself and the 2 championship challengers.
Could I just add something there? Because I think I voiced my doubts on the live last time out as well, whether I wasn't exactly sure whether Mikel was intending to be the wingman or just ran out of a couple of laps to try and attack. But in the press conference here on Thursday, he did say he is a backup man. So let's see what we get from that with a 2 against 1 slightly.
Well, very exciting indeed. The pressure's been mounting on these guys even throughout the weekend. Of course, it's the home race for the LCR in MotoE squad as well. They had a nice little pre-event. Mikel Pons got to ride the Honda road-going MotoGP machine, a kind of a replica of sorts. Eric Granado was on his MotoE bike, and they were doing a practice start along one of the strip roads down on the coast, just a stone's throw away from here. So excitement already. I can't imagine what it must be like down for these guys on the grid. Neither Aegerter or Granado have won the MotoE World Cup overall yet. Aegerter wanted to do the double, of course, with World Supersport. But I tell you what, we can find out though what the outgoing World Cup winner can think ahead of this race. Jordi Torres on the grid with Fran.
So Jordi, final couple of words ahead of this race. What are you going for?
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but for sure this race can be very difficult because some guys try to beat some title, you know, and maybe stay there in the middle can I disturb to some battle, but at the final everybody wants to win the race and see what happens.
Well, you've got you and Mattia on the front row, so I think you're going to make it interesting.
Yeah, we hope.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, friend. Thanks as well to Jordi Torres, outgoing MotoE World Cup winner, or champion, I should say. And he has been looking really strong right the way through the weekend, free practice and in qualifying. So, yeah, can Jordi maybe get himself onto the podium for the first time this year?
Perfect, of course. He says that everybody's out there to win. This is a motorcycle race. Every single one of the riders out there wants to take that #1 spot. They don't really care about getting involved with Granado or Aegerter.
Yeah, it will be interesting. This year, historically, Casadei has been a really fast starter and really good on the first lap. Aegerter has been pretty much the opposite, man. He's always struggled this year on laps 1 and 2, and it only seems to be around lap 3 that he seems to get going. So will we see the Swiss make a bit of an improvement in that department? Because Granado, you have to imagine, will be super aggressive from the start. Yeah,
absolutely. He's got him on the run, hasn't he, Eric? He took both victories last time out in Austria, and it's time to go. We will be going racing very, very shortly. 3-minute board is up. Let's take a full rundown of the grid then. Aegerter starts from pole position. Casadei alongside him. Torres on the outside of the front row. Granado looking directly ahead at his main championship rival in 4th. Ferrari 5th. Mikel Pons in 6th. Row 3, number 7, Nicolo Canepa from Alex Escrig and Xavi Cardelus. Kevin Zanoni, local rider, local team, the Marco Simoncelli circuit, rider for Seek 58. He starts from 10th ahead of Akubo and Kevin Manfredi. Then we have Hector Garzo, Xavi Flores and Maria Herrera. They are on row 5. Row 6 is Bradley Smith, Alessio Finello and Mark Alcoba. No time set in qualifying for Alcoba yesterday. He was the only rider to go down in qualifying. Well then, this is it, ladies and gents. Buckle up, because MotoE is going to be as fast and furious as we've ever known it here at Misano.
Yeah, it's the first match point for this man, Dominique Aegerter, leading the championship by 17.5 points. Basically, if he wins the race and Eric Granado isn't second, then Aegerter will be champion.
Scores 8 or more points than Granado. That is the aim of the game. So he's going to need to do the opposite of what he's been doing so far this year. He needs to get out front, clear off, and off he goes. One problem, though, the rider alongside him, Mattia Casadei, is always near enough the last of the late breakers.
Cast your minds back to previous MotoE encounters at this track. The first chicane map, turns 1 and 2, usually throw up some drama. So will we have a clean run through the first sector on lap number 1?
No warm-up lap, of course, so we just await for MotoE to burst into life. These are the final moments with the teams and the riders on the grid. The tyre warmers will be removed in around about 5 seconds' time, and then it's time to get ready. Final fist bumps, and off we go. This is Alex Escrig. Can he play a pivotal factor coming through from 8th on the grid? There's the sound of the horn. The ride as well. The adrenaline's pumping. I'm nervous. Neil's nervous. Fran is surely shaking with adrenaline coursing through the veins about the possibility of a MotoE World Cup winner being
honestly,
crowned here.
Fran's put the overline down because I don't trust myself to be able to stay calm enough on the first couple of corners.
Not just lob it into the distance, essentially, as well. We're going to have to be careful with our microphones too. I know a lot of people like the excitement here in MotoE, but 30 seconds to go as the grid is being cleared. Neil, one final little bit of time for prediction. Are we going to see Aegerter crowned winner today?
I don't think today, Matt. Perhaps tomorrow, but I think it'll be tough for him to win today.
We're expecting some fireworks, that is for sure. MotoE, always some of the best racing in the world, and it's about to unfold in front of your very eyes. MotoE going to be bursting into life once again at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, we are go for the penultimate race of 2022, and it's a great launch from Casadei and Aegerter. They're side by side down towards turn 1. It's the last of the late breakers. Casadei in towards P1, and Granado slotted into P3 just behind Aegerter. Oh, that's Pons! So the wingman's down, he's out, he's in the gravel. Granado down one man, but he's in third. It's all about him and Aegerter now, as Casadei already a couple of bike lengths out front.
For his recent standards, Dominique Aegerter got off the line reasonably well. Yes, he's dropped one position, but I think he'll be pretty content to be just ahead of Eric Granado right now. I expect to see some moves from the Brazilian coming in, though.
Yes, well, let's see then. So all cleanly through, apart from Pons, we have Casadei from Aegerter, Granado and Torres. Ferrari, the magician of Misano, P5 as we come down in towards turn 8. No brash overtaking moves this time around. Escridge just behind Ferrari in 6th.
Yeah, good start to affairs from Escridge. Xavi Carlos looking decent as well, and Hikaru Kubo has made up already a couple of positions up in 8th.
Well then, you've got to cast your minds back to Austria then, because we had Casadei out front. He led all the way in race 1 to the penultimate corner, where just an extra squeeze of the front brake, a little bit of a tighter line, too much effort, too much force through that front tyre, and down he went out of a potential victory. Granado took it and started closing in on Aegerter. He's got him in his sights. This is the kind of sight we need to get used to for the next 8 laps of this race. Granado closing in on Aegerter.
Yeah, he certainly is, and Casadei in the last couple of races has managed to put nearly a second into his pursuers on that number 1. It looks as though Aegerter has given him a bit of a tougher time there, and that's a good move from Carlos, looking as though he's defending from Kubo.
Yeah, he moves up to the 6th place though. Kubo responds very well indeed into that final corner. Very nicely done. He parks it straight in front of the Andorran rider. The Japanese, he's definitely a dark horse to watch in this MotoE race.
And you can see the top 5 have basically checked out already. It looks as though this is going to be a 5-way fight for victory, maybe even a 3-way fight, because Casadei, Aegerter and Granado are just having enough hand. I think Granado has already moved through the second man.
He has. We completely missed that, and looks like Torres is trying to make a move on Aegerter as well. He does have a think about it in towards turn 4. A tricky spot. Many people have decked it down there. This could be a problem spot as well. Turn 6. Technically we're coming through turn 7 in a short moment, but really that's more of a kink on this back straight.
Torres there said he didn't want to get really involved to get in people's way, but he's got 2 of the title contenders just in front of him. Will the Spaniard be a gentleman, or will he try and mix among it? Because he does have the pace probably to go with Casadei at the front.
He's looking for a job next year. The job's on the line, your livelihood's on the line. It's time to get spicy, ladies and gents. As we see then, Casadei, Granado right on his tail, Aegerter just watching firm. This is the thing though, Neil, you did wonder about this in qualifying. Would Aegerter just sit happily behind Granado, because that's all he needs to do to sort of coast to World Cup victory?
Yeah, I think Granado certainly needs to risk it all, because gaining 5 points in this race isn't really going to be enough. He has to try and put at least 9 points into Aegerter for the title fight to have realistic ambitions of going for the title tomorrow. And you can see the right with Casadei now as they go into turn 14.
Yeah, Aegerter looks up the inside of Granado then. Interesting, the difference of line choices and braking markers that these guys have here on these MotoE machines. These new bikes for this year, they don't have that much experience around the Misano World Circuit. Just 2 free practice sessions. Then these guys all had the singular 10-minute Q2 session. This is what happened between Granado and Aegerter last lap around. Aegerter, a few bobbles in towards turn 1. Oh, a brilliant move up the inside from Granado. That's textbook and exactly how it's done.
Absolutely, yeah, nice move there by Granado. Right mix of aggression and precision. It looks as though he's got the lead.
He's got it. He has got the lead. This is it then. Granado on the prowl, but Aegerter trying to make a move up the inside of Casadei that time around too. He makes it. Their front and rear wheels nearly kiss each other as we come onto the back straight then. And Ferrari too up the inside. Oh, not quite, of Torres. Onto the back straight we come.
Yeah, absolutely. Ferrari, the quickest man on track, set the fastest lap on lap 2. He is right there with the 2 Pons bikes. Ahead is Aegerter. I thought he was going to have a look at Granado, but he's happy just to shadow him for the moment.
Gotta say, that's a quality response from Aegerter, just immediately through on Casadei as well. He knows he cannot let him get away, but look at that as it stands. 12.5 points would be the gap going into tomorrow, and Aegerter, well, he looks up the inside, but I think Granado just wants to take a bit of a wider line to nail his drive out onto the back straight now.
Yeah, so Granado can really do 2 things here. He can try and pull away, or he can try and bunch things up and make it possible for Casadei to have a bite. Aegerter just behind, as we said. He needs a couple of bites between himself at that number 77. Aegerter, though, looks content to sit there, or will he try and push ahead here going into turn 14?
Remember though, turn 15 is where it all came undone for Granado last year, but it was a bit different than before, and it could have come undone there as well. A bit of a mistake. Let's Aegerter catch right up on his tail as we come into these penultimate corners. Look at this quintet. MotoE at its very best, but the ultimate prize on the line.
Keep your eyes on number 11 in fourth place. Matteo Ferrari climbed up to fourth past Jordi Torres, who's the quickest man on track last time around, and he made further progress towards the podium positions.
Over the line we come, 5 laps to go. Granado leads the 51 from the 77, from the 27, 11 and 40 pursue in 4th and 5th. Aegerter nails his drive out of turn 2 through this long right-hander at turn 3. Turn 4's a prime overtaking spot. Will Aegerter go for it? Maybe so, but no, Granado defends his line this time around.
Yeah, he certainly does. I don't know whether he just doesn't have the pace, Granado, to pull away, or whether he's trying to bunch things up here, but certainly Matteo Ferrari has been 3 or 4 tenths faster than the leader the last 2 times around, and he's looking very lively and keen to get past Casadei in 3rd.
I'm sure his team will have discussed a variety of different tactics and scenarios as we're seeing a replay here of what happened with Casadei and Granado. So Granado, oh, it was a mistake for Casadei. Goodness me, he was fortunate to stay upright. I did wonder if he made a little mistake. That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, absolutely, and Casadei's looking for a sniff here, but here comes Aegerter.
We got Aegerter. Aegerter up the inside, going for the lead then. He wants to put as much space as he can between himself and Granado. So then, Eric, can you punch back and catch him down towards Curvone?
Yeah, Granado's going to have to respond immediately. Expect something. Is he going to have a go here?
No, he's surely not. No, he does not. Goodness me, that would have been the move to end all moves. As Casadei now looks up the inside of Granado. He sacrificed his line through there then. What can he do here in towards the closing corners of the lap? Oh, Casadei getting all... Oh, it's down! It's over! That's it! It's done! If Aegerter can stay on, Granado is down, and where he lost the World Cup last year as well, that could be it, ladies and gents, and it's heartbreak for Brazil.
Oh no, Eric Granado, the 2nd year in succession at the first race at Misano has been his undoing. All Dominique Aegerter has to do now is bring it home, basically, in the top 4, and he is going to be MotoE World Cup winner for the first time.
It's redemption after last year, you could say, for Aegerter, but Granado's getting going again. It won't be any points for him. He can't believe it. Unfortunately, Aegerter has very much got the better of him in this penultimate race of 2022. Talk us through what happened, Neil.
Just coming down here, it looks as though he's a little bit offline, a little bit wide, trying to pull it back, and well, the front just washes away. Disaster for the Brazilian after such a strong start to the race. You have to say that is just a crucial mistake at such a critical moment in this series, man.
He's got to pray that Casadei or Jordi Torres pull an equally audacious move on Aegerter and put him off, run him off track, or something happens, of course, within reason to Aegerter's race chances here, because otherwise it is going to be race victory and the World Cup win for Aegerter here in the penultimate race. Of course, that'll make tomorrow very entertaining with all-out war for that victory, but we do like to see the World Cup go down right to the wire.
Yeah, you can see Ferrari there has had a few issues staying within the track limits already, especially through Curvone just there. But Aegerter doesn't really look as though he's going to be content to just pick up the points. He wants to bring this championship home by victory. Yeah,
he's really got a point to prove after what happened here last year. You'll all remember him wiping out Jordi Torres to try and take victory in the World Cup. It was stripped from him as that move was deemed an illegal manoeuvre, and that's it, the confirmation on his pit board. 51 out. All you need to do, Dommy, is see the flag in this leading group pretty much, and you take the World Cup victory here today. And even if he doesn't manage that, it's still a nigh on insurmountable amount of points for Granado to close in on tomorrow.
Yeah, such a disaster, Matt. Granado had scored points in every single race, scored top 8 finishes in every single race. He had won 5 races. He was perfectly poised to give Aegerter a good shot, and that'll be absolutely heartbreak for the Brazilian. Yeah,
he really gave it all he had, didn't he? And then some more, unfortunately, for Granado. You got to feel for him, but hey, I would love to see these guys back at it, going at it hammer and tong once again next year. He's coming across the line shaking. He will be absolutely heartbroken. I feel gutted for him, and there will be the confirmation. If it finishes like this, it's 42.5 points going into the final 25 points available.
And you can see Aegerter is not slowing down any. He set his personal best lap off the race the last time round. He has around 3/10 of advantage over Mattia Casadei in 2nd. And well, there you have it. If he scores 8 points or more, than Granado in this race, he will be champion. That means he can afford to finish 8th and he'll still be the victor, because Granado isn't going to score any points, I don't think, Matt. 17th at the moment, 20 seconds behind Canelo in 16th.
Yeah, that's it, you got to say, unless something happens to Aegerter here. He of course has that World Supersport victory from before. He finished 2nd in the MotoE World Cup. He really wanted the double this year. That was the aim. Nothing less would do for the Swiss rider. You can see Casadei though, still giving it all he can. There in 2nd spot, getting squirrely on the brakes in towards turn 15. He's got Torres just behind him. Ferrari's got to watch those track limits. I don't think potentially this race victory is quite over.
No, I certainly don't. It has been very polite and all in line. Nothing too crazy so far, but we do know.
Tea and scones after this as well. Very polite indeed, gentlemen.
Yeah, we know that that's not really the MotoE way though, and Casadei is right there, just 0.2 of a second behind Aegerter coming across the line. He manages to keep it in line through turns 2 and 3 this time, thankfully, after that huge moment they had earlier in the race. I would say Casadei is likely to have a punt here. I don't think I'm saying anything that revelatory, man.
No, but the thing is, I mean, they don't want to get involved. You don't really want to ruin someone else's championship. You know how you'd feel on the other end of the if the shoe was on the other foot, I should say. But Casadei, he is closing in on Aegerter. Down the back straight he comes. He's going to punt him back down to 2nd. Or is he? Last of the late breakers. Will Aegerter let him have it? Well, I'm not sure if he did let him have it, but anyways, Casadei is through now to P1. Passes straight in front of Aegerter, leaves him no room to respond. And now it's Jordi Torres' chance to duff up the Swiss rider as well.
Yeah, we've seen Casadei starting races so strong all the way through this year and then fade ever so slightly towards the end, but he's looking very, very good. He looks as though he's preserved his tyre as well for the final 2 laps of this race, and the number 27 looks as though he could well be winning in home for the first time.
Yeah, Casadei, that would be his 2nd MotoE victory if he does manage to bring it home in P1 then, and how much would that mean here at Misano, his local circuit? He's friends with so many of the local riders, for Nicola Bulega and Enea Bastianini. He absolutely would love it as Ferrari, the magician of Misano, now moves up the inside of Torres.
Yeah, decent stuff from Ferrari. I thought he might have been out of it a few laps ago after Torres moved by, but he responds. He can smell perhaps even a victory here on the last lap, depending on what happens just ahead.
And remember what he said to Fran as we come onto the home straight for the penultimate time. Then the final lap is inbound. Ferrari told Fran on the grid he wants that victory. He wants victory number 6 here at home in Misano. Aegerter and Casadei separate him from that feat. Torres looks up the inside, but there we go then. Will we have all-out battles for this final lap, the penultimate one of this first race here at Misano?
I think the Swiss fan club is just next to that camera outside turn 2 as Torres has a look at Ferrari into turn 4. Not quite on this occasion. I think Ferrari is certainly going to line up Aegerter, maybe coming out of turn 6 and down into Querci. That's where Aegerter was a little bit weak on the last lap. It looks as though he's got a good drive on this occasion.
In his slipstream he comes then. Ferrari 11 versus 77. Here they come. He pulls out the slipstream into the braking zone. He doesn't make his stick this time around though. Can he nail his line on the exit to make a similar move in towards turn 9 and 10 then? Time is running out for these guys. If they want to do anything about the Swiss rider, do they want to hand a favour to Brazil's finest? Ferrari, he's looking, but not quite, as we head onto the back straight.
Yeah, you have to admire Aegerter. He could just sit up and let these guys past and be done with all the drama, but it looks as though he wants to end this championship and gain the championship with a fantastic result, possibly even a podium finish. But you have to say Ferrari's looking very good coming through Cavoni, lining up a move.
This is not what champions do though. Aegerter will give it all he's got, but Ferrari swarming all over the back of him, a seasoned MotoE veteran as well then. Corners running out, Ferrari looking at the inside, maybe. Casadei defends his line supremely there. Could there be any response in these last 2 corners then? Will there be a victory for Casadei? The overall win for Aegerter? Surely so. One final corner to go and Dommy has done it. It will be Dommy Fighter, the MotoE World Cup winner for 2022. Here he comes. It's Swiss glory, Swiss delight for Aegerter. He's done it. He's the World Cup winner. All but one race on the podium and even victories. That's how it's done. Neil Morrison.
Absolutely, that is how it's done. You have to say a richly deserved title triumph for Dominique Aegerter after a year of just consistent brilliance right the way through. Off the podium just one occasion this year, 1st and 2nd in every race bar 2. That is how you win championships.
And it's absolute heartbreak, as we said and reiterated again and again for Granado. There is no one more passionate, I think, out there than Eric Granado. He absolutely loves it. His country loves him too. They will be heartbroken all over South America, sadly. He shakes his head as he crosses the finish line. MotoE title will not be his here this year but hopefully we see him again next. But it's all about now those celebrations for Aegerter. Burn it down, Domi, because you've done it. You've got that MotoE World Cup win, and it's been a sensational season for the Swiss rider.
Yeah, it really has. Going for that double, of course. MotoE World Cup victory as well as the World Supersport Championship. You have to say, looking at World Supersport this year, that is probably going to happen as well. And good to see sportsman-like behaviour there. Eric Granado going over and congratulating the number 77. Granado so close, yet so far. Once again, Matt, coming to the final round of the MotoE World Cup with a chance and not quite managing to get it done. He will be heartbroken.
Absolutely. So then, it was in the second race of the year that we last saw Dominique Aegerter off the podium in MotoE. That is some form, Neil, because it's dominance, isn't it? I mean, strictly speaking, even though Granado has had 5 victories so far this year, that sort of consistency is what we've seen previously that wins MotoE World Cup titles.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Since he was last off the podium at Jerez back in May, his results have been second, first, first, second, second, third, and second. I mean, that is just a ridiculously consistent run. And I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone in the championship or in this paddock to say that he hasn't deserved it this year.
I believe that was his brother handing him a special one-off helmet there as well. Eric just can't stop shaking his head, unfortunately. We'll have to go give him a hug later on, Neil, won't we? Really do feel sorry for him. This was the moment that he lost the World Cup, sadly, right in front of Casadei.
We did see back in 2019, didn't we, Matt, that Eric Granado, he was a bit of a win or straw bills type rider. He'd either win or throw it down the road. He's managed to be so much more consistent this year.
He's finished every race.
And finished every race with good points as well. But unfortunately, just not quite as consistent as this man.
Well, the big plus for Domi is he's got the flag on his back now. It's not done up very well, but that's okay. But Casadei, though, we do need to talk about him because it's victory for him at home.
Yeah, exactly. Big plus also on his back, on that flag, man.
Just in general, yes.
Yeah, but what a ride that was from Casadei as well. Really nice, clean move executed on Aegerter to take his victory. Only the second victory of his season. You feel that Casadei's been at the front pretty much of every round we've had so far this year. You feel he should have won more. He's certainly been, I think, the most improved MotoE rider in 2022.
How about this for MotoE, though? Four riders separated by under 0.3 of a second there in that race. Ferrari comes home on the podium in third then. Excellent stuff. Just off the podium, though, obviously we had Jordi Torres, the outgoing World Cup winner. Alex Escrits came through into 5th place. Canepa was 6th and Akubo 7th. Great stuff from those guys. That is basically a great example from MotoE. Of course, we are closing out the Energica era of MotoE. It will be Ducati powered next year. I cannot wait for that as well. And Aegerter, you'll not be able to wipe the smile off his face ever to that one. Well, maybe if his flag gets caught in the rear wheel of that bike, he might do. There'll be a bit of concern there.
Yeah, even on a bad day, you feel that Domi is there with a smile and an upbeat attitude. And you have to say, Matt, fair play, because he was the one that was attacking Granado just before the Brazilian fell. He went on the attack, and you could say he forced that mistake.
Yeah, I would say so. We saw it at turn 10 when previously when he had moved through. Granado tried to nail his line, coming through onto the back straight through Carbone. Aegerter pulled out a little bit and then tried to close him on the brakes. Probably felt the threat of Casadei behind him too. Well, I look forward to hearing what exactly went on. But Aegerter, understandably so, lapping it up. Obviously never a world champion at Grand Prix level previous to this, but taking a world title and a Grand Prix venue in one of the, well, not exactly a Grand Prix series, the World Cup series adjoining the Grand Prix circus must be very, very special indeed.
Yeah, of course he was World Cup winner here for about 30 seconds last year, 1 minute. His team were celebrating when he came across the line in that final race, because he was technically champion at that point, but his move was maybe a little bit naughty. That meant that he came across to win that race. He obviously was handed a penalty, which made him fall down the order. Jordi Torres got the nod, but Aegerter came back resolved that this would be his year, and he has managed to do it. And a fine burnout for those Swiss fans in attendance.
And you can hear from the onboard camera all the gravel going through that beautiful air-ski caution machine. Hopefully it's okay to race tomorrow, but does it really matter when he's already won the World Cup title? So, there we go. Lucio Cecchinello consoling his rider there. Brilliant stuff. He's not even taken off his helmet, bless him. He'll be absolutely gutted with that. Obviously so. A real shame, because he had Domi on the run, but you could say Domi went on the attack actually from yesterday in qualifying by taking that pole position.
He was just fractionally offline, wasn't he, Matt? You feel he was maybe trying to pull it tight. Casadei looked as though he was maybe going to move underneath. Well, just fell away there for Granado. I don't think there's anyone in this class that puts more into it emotionally than the Brazilian.
That's, yes, certainly a great way of putting it. As the hero's welcome. Certainly a different thing when you burn up a biodegradable Michelin rear slick with an electric bike. You don't need ear protectors around there, but you might do with the noise for the Intact GP squad. Do you think they just used the t-shirts from last year but just put a 2 over the 1?
Jürgen Link there, the team boss of the Intact GP squad there. First man to get a hug from the new World Cup winner.
It smells absolutely great after that burnout down here.
Well, they're made of part orange peel and lemon peel as well, aren't they? So is there a slight citrus tone in the air for us?
I don't know about citrus, but it's definitely different to the MotoGP rear when they do a burnout.
Bits of steel in there as well, and yeah, all
it's
sorts.
46% renewable, the rear in MotoE this year. So very good stat. It's gone up from the first ones that they tried in 2019. So yeah, bit of a stat there.
How about that then? I do hope with his win bonus, Dominique Aegerter can get a haircut. But there we go. I suppose, well, I guess to be fair, if you're a World Cup winner, you can go around with that sort of hairdo, frankly. But rocking the mullet. Shame he's not come to Phillip Island. He would look very much at home there.
Bit rich, you handing out advice on hairstyles there, Matt.
Whoa,
but anyway.
Brutal. Let's hear from Matteo Ferrari, though, the magician of Misano.
Just checking with you there, Matteo. So 7 out of 8 podiums, not quite the win today, but we saw you congratulate Mattia as well. But great podium, pretty tense race as well. Congrats, how was it out there?
Yeah, it was a difficult race because in the middle I struggled a lot with the rear tire, but I tried to manage it. I recovered because I did a mistake in turn Quercia, and after that I recover. I push a lot, I overtake Jordi. At the end I try to do my maximum to overtake Domi and Mattia, but at the end the podium is okay. It's good points for the championship, and yeah, congrats to Dominic and also to Eric because they did a very great season, and we will try next season.
Cool, and tomorrow of course.
And tomorrow we have to think about the win, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, friend. Thanks as well to Matteo Ferrari. Another podium, yet another podium at his beloved Misano. And, well, he's just ahead of Casadei in the battle for third in the standings, Matt, by 1.5 points. So he'll be looking to beat Casadei, his compatriot, tomorrow to make sure he wraps up that third position in the championship.
But here he is then. Dominique Aegerter takes second in the race, but he is the 2022 overall World Cup winner. He has 214 points, an insurmountable amount for Eric Granado to close in tomorrow. He must be absolutely peaking of it. We're going to be hearing from him right now. He's down in Parc Fermé with Fran.
I just said to you, Dommy, you seem so calm after the burnout arrival and celebration. Then you're like, yes, hello, ready for my interview. Congratulations. Obviously here last year, such a roller coaster. Then this weekend, you've looked very calm, collected, on a mission, and you've done it. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. 3 years in this class, 1 time third, 1 time second, and now finally first before one race to go tomorrow, so I can enjoy tomorrow. I want to thank all the Dynavolt Intact MotoE team. They make a fantastic job. I had again I had again a fantastic bike that I can fight for the victory. Sure, today in the race, I saw that Granado crashed. They told me. I saw the pit board, and I didn't want to do anything strange. I know that when I finish on the podium, I can win the championship, and long way to go. Now I have some super sport races. I hope I can fight there also good. And thanks again for all the sponsor who helps me to be here, and I hope we can continue like this.
Well, it's a good CV, isn't it? MotoE, Supersport, MotoE and Suzuka Glory as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Und danke vielmals allen Schweizer, die da waren, zum Jubeln. Merci.
Well, there it is. The champion speaks. The champion of 2022. And this was one of the most critical overtakes I think he's made in his career. Because from this moment here, I guess you could say, he put Granado on the ropes a bit. And from there, Granado made his mistake, so he didn't quite have anything for Casadei, but not that he cares at all. He was just happy to bring it home and collect that first world title in this, or this World Cup win in this MotoE class.
Yeah, an unforgettable day for Dominique Aegerter and what has already been quite a glistening career for the Swiss rider. But hey, a win at home, his second ever MotoE victory must be pretty special for Mattia Casadei. From the gravel yesterday to P1 in Parc Fermé today, he's down in Parc Fermé with Fran.
He is indeed. Well, Mattia, another incredible win for you, and this time not quite in Casadei style. You very defensive on that final lap, closing the door. Did you know who was behind you, and how does it feel to be back on the top step?
Beautiful. I won this victory. I do this victory is fantastic. I want to thank to all my team and to my family, all the fans, sponsors are here. And I'm very happy. It's a fantastic emotion. We are all faster at the rider in front, and in the final lap, after I overtake Domi, I try to close all the door, and I do well, and this is a victory. Fantastic. Thank you.
You definitely did do well. Congrats.
Thank you.
Mr. Zen.
He really is. Fran nailed it, didn't he?
Always. When he arrived in Parc Fermé, I was like, you look like you've come from a nap or reading a book. It's unbelievable.
He's great, isn't he? Blockbuster in a different way is Mattia Casadei. Cracking stuff. I just imagine if he's going to go home to his balcony on one of the seaside towns in Catolica or Riccione, just crack open a cold one and just go... And that'll be him, done for the night. No penalty, no nothing. That's Casadei in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, for a man that's so aggressive on the brakes, that was such a clinical, almost easy move that won the race in the end, down into Quercia, overtaking Aegerter. He did obviously have that that moment coming out of turn 2 early in the race after he got the now trademark hole shot. And yes, his second victory of the year. That's his 6th podium this season from 11 outings. That's a pretty decent consistency as well. You would say Casadei could have also been in the title fight had it not been for a little bit of bad luck. Obviously, there was that collision in the first race of the year, which meant he didn't score points, and of course he crashed out of race number 1 when he was first in Austria,
yes,
on the final lap.
Exactly.
Had it not been for those 2 incidents, he could have been right in the thick of the title fight going into the final race as well.
That's why I call it misfortune rather than luck, Neil, because sometimes you make your own luck, don't you? And well, in that case, he didn't. So he put himself out of the running in that regard. But hey, mistakes happen. It's motorbike racing. It's kind of why we love it. It's brilliant. Podium time incoming for MotoE then. This will be a special one with Aegerter accepting the World Cup victory as well. They will have to clear fairly soon though, because you've got the Junior GP coming after this as well. That'll be broadcast on the usual Junior GP platforms. They can also have a champion crowned today as well, in the form of Jose Rueda.
Yeah, well, we'll be seeing him in the Moto3 World Championship next year. Sounds like he will be making a step up to World Championship level. And it's been an eventful day for the intact GP squad. We're just hearing that Marcel Schroeder's confirmed he will be leaving that team in Moto2 next year, after I think a 6-year stay.
Wow.
But, well, this moment is all about MotoE. Matteo Ferrari, Mr. Misano joins the podium. Didn't quite manage to score a victory here, but one of the fastest men on track. You have to believe he'll be in the mix for the victory tomorrow.
Here is your World Cup winner then. Aegerter gets the biggest cheer of all, coming out onto the podium then. That one means a heck of a lot to the intact GP squad. One of the hardest working teams out there in both MotoE and Moto2. And this is one is special as well. Mattia Casadei taking victory at home in Misano. Good mates with Ferrari too. Shaking the hands of his fellow competitors. How awesome is that? Trophy time it is then. Much more subtle trophies than previously we've had in the MotoE. P2 goes to Dominique Aegerter there. That is obviously not the overall World Cup trophy.
That'll come later.
Yep, a little bit. Tomorrow maybe?
Here is then Casadei, the victor, being presented the Victor's Trophy for the second time this season. And that'll taste extra sweet because it came at home. And now time for the Italian national anthem.
Always great to hear the Italian national anthem here at Misano, or in Mugello in fact as well. Prosecco time for the podium finishers and your MotoE World Cup winner, Dominique Aegerter. We will be seeing in just a moment's time your compilation from what has been a sensational season for the Swiss rider. Dominant, look it up in the dictionary. Now underneath you will see the name Dominique Aegerter. From Aegerter.
Un grande applauso ai protagonisti.